It's time for another segment of Mr. and Mrs. Medicare, saving seniors from a high cost of healthcare, debunking Medicare, making Medicare easy to understand for all seniors. All guests of any of the Medicare segments receive a free ebook written by your MedicareLady.com. Here are your hosts, Paul and Sarah Finkelstein.
By the way, you can get that free ebook by emailing wow at omgtalk.com. That's wow at omgtalk.com. Just email there, put in the subject line free ebook, and it's yours.
You have been listening to the OMG podcast with Paul Finkelstein. We can help you build wealth without hogging your time. Schedule a one-on-one with us. Thanks for listening. Join us again for another OMG podcast segment.
Thanks, Tony from trcvoiceovers.com. If you don't want an AI for voiceovers, you can trust Tony for your voiceover at trcvoiceovers.com. By the way, Paul Finkelstein's a very popular name, and there's over 50 Paul Finkelsteins on LinkedIn, the same exact first and last name. But this Paul Finkelstein doesn't like to stay in the lines because he thinks bigger than that. How about yourself? Unless you're okay with the status quo, mediocrity, or never getting a raise from your job, your business, your portfolio, your investments, then you definitely would not be interested in entrepreneurship. You will not find this talk very interesting, quite boring, frankly. But I do invite you to have a big open mind to some new concepts, maybe for you, in this short 5-minute to 30-minute introduction. You could always save this for later as well and listen later. I'm Paul Finkelstein. Dream big, dream big. I'm Paul Finkelstein. And here I am on the screen right now. I just have some information I'd love to share with you. I'm in the Southeast Florida area. That's why the background with the nice, beautiful scenery, the cabana on the beach between Treasure Coast and the Bahamas. This is just an amazing place to live. It's paradise. I like it. But what are the jobs that you used to have when you were younger, like when you were in high school, when you were in 12 years old, or you were a junior in high school or senior in high school? Anybody raise their hand? Anybody here was in the kitchen duties at a restaurant, or perhaps maybe a server? Was that one of your cup of tea type of jobs that you had in your early years? Did they help give you that work ethic, that discipline for life? How many people, by a show of hands, actually mowed lawns and got some extra money so that you can go out with your friends? If you mowed lawns, raise your hand. And of course, I can't see it, but go ahead and raise your hand anyway, or just put some comments in the chat wherever you're listening to this on 10 different platforms. How many people here, by a show of hands, ever operated a snowblower? Because up in the wintertime, your family needed to get the cars out of the driveway, out of the garage, and there was loads of snow on your driveway, and it was your job to do that. And it was faster to do that with the snowblower versus hand shoveling it. I turned in my shovel when I left the northeast area of the United States a long time ago. Now I'm in the southeast area of the United States. So if you mowed lawns, you used a snowblower, or you worked in the kitchen, we're more alike than we are different. Now, those are my start for a taste of perhaps entrepreneurship. Didn't quite own my whole business then, or a business then, when I was in high school. Just mowing some lawns and or snow blowing some driveways down my block, maybe around the corner. That was about it, but I was quite happy with making some extra cash when I was a kid. How about yourself? So did you mow lawns? I see a couple of more people just joined us. So if you mowed lawns, or you did your snow blowing, or you worked in a kitchen at a restaurant, just curious, how would you like being an employee of that particular business? Or perhaps maybe your family owned the business, etc. But why dream big is the topic of today's conversation, because I think dreaming big is important, and you'll see as we digress through this very interesting speech of 365 speeches, or 365 days. But did you know that millions of people want to own their own business but never do it? They never get right down to it. Is it perhaps maybe there's some fears there, which we will digress into some of those details? But is it the freedom that people are looking for? Do they really want a business of their own, or is it they want the freedom from a boss and to do what they want when they want? But of course, owning your own business, you do seem to evaporate a lot of the time. There's only 168 hours a week, that you get and I get, everybody gets around the world. And 7 hours of it for sleep. So about 50 hours of sleep during the week. And then the rest of it is what? Dedicated towards as an employee or self-employed. And then self-employed, what is that really? It's somebody who owns a job. And have you ever heard the expression that job is J-O-B, or just over broke? I mean, many of us are just over broke, like just above that. It's pretty scary, because the statistics are that 95% of 100 people in your cell phone are dead, disabled, or broke by the time they get to 65. 95% of everybody are dead, disabled, or broke by the time they get to 65. Do you believe that statistic? Yes or no? Do you believe the statistic that people are living paycheck to paycheck? And as you get a raise, somehow your lifestyle increases and you're still living paycheck to paycheck. So why dream big? But take a piece of paper out in front of you and draw a circle on it. And then put a dollar sign right in the middle of it. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But I want to talk about the 6 curse words that amateur entrepreneurs, stumble with or have challenges with. The first word is mediocrity. I'm not going to get into too depth with these words, but maybe I'll do a sound effect for what I think about each of these amateur entrepreneurs' curse words. The first one is mediocrity. Here's the sound effect for it. Shh, like bored, put you to sleep, right? Mediocrity. If you're, thinking about that you are bored at what's going on in your job and career, perhaps maybe you stumbled into the word mediocrity, or you stumbled into the word tired. Another amateur entrepreneur curse word is tired. I'll also use the same sound effect. Shh. It's like the sound of someone snoring, right? And then there's the word comfortable. I could do amazing 2 stories about the word comfortable that are quite amazing. When I learned in one circumstance how to milk cows, and the word comfortable comes into play, and then the same exact word comes into play in not too far in the Southeast. Somebody's mom only knew a certain language, and I asked them what the word comfortable was in their language, and it was a very interesting discussion. But comfortable, I mean, we're all comfortable in our cup of tea, in what we do, what we know, what we do best. Comfortable. But when I think about comfortable, also kind of bored and a snore. But then there's the word procrastination, another amateur entrepreneur curse word. Procrastination. I think of this word, the big yawn, the big lazy comes into play. So then there's the 2 other words that are kind of the same, which are for amateur entrepreneurs a curse word, which will rack up to the top 6 words that I think are curse words for amateur entrepreneurs. And that's work and effort. Pretty much the same thing, right? But when I was a while ago, I'm just going to put a little smiley face up on the screen because I'm curious what picture it's going to display. So let's see. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, so that picture you see on the screen is me when I was 13 years old. And there was a DJ at a party that my mom threw for me. And at this party, it was a pretty significant party, but I won't get into the details of that. What's important here is that the DJ said in this game that played with all of my friends, my classmates that came to my 13-year-old party. And all the classmates, all of my peers, friends were on one side of the dance floor. The dance floor was completely empty. On the right side of the dance floor was nobody. And everybody had to run as a test to the other side of the dance floor. So the DJ would say, Red Rover, send Johnny over. And everybody went to the other side. And you see me there pictured. I landed right on my mom's lap. She threw the party for me. And we were the last ones. We were generally, I'm pretty quick, fairly athletic, right? I hold my own. Mom, too. She played tennis as well. She played golf as well. But we were last. The other kids were just quicker that day. I guess we had our minds on entertaining and being the host of my 13-year-old party. So at that point, that game, though, is what I want to get your attention with, because there's a particular book called The Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, and it's called Well, it's called cash flow quadrant. And in this quadrant, on the left side of the quadrant, like that dance floor, is an employee and self-employed person. On the right side of the dance floor, or the cash flow quadrant, are business owner and investor. And I think of that DJ like my 13-year-old party, like with this cash flow quadrant, and picturing the DJ say, Red Rover, send Johnny over. Johnny is the self-employed or employee of any company. And the DJ is daring all of the employees and self-employed people to go over to the right side of the dance floor, which is the business owner and the investor. And some people are slow to do that. Why are they slow to do that? Like, if you're slow, then you're out. Like myself sitting there on top of my mom's lap in that picture there with the smiley face. So how many people here, by a show of hands, you could put in the comments to reflect that, think that your job is so sexy? How many people think that you love your job? I like my job. You love your job? Then put some comments there. I love my job. I like my job. My job's so sexy. I don't need a stinking raise. I don't need my business to make any more revenue than it is. I'm perfectly happy the way it is. I make just enough money. Your customers come and go, right? Or you always retain all of your customers because you got perfect customer service, let me tell you. So you make good money, right? What? So how much is good money? If I had a nickel for so many people that said they make good money, I'd probably be stinking rich. But why dream big? Did you know that you're surrounded by people, millions of people that settled for something less? You're surrounded by millions of people that settled for something less. I know that because the statistics are too real that most people are living paycheck to paycheck. So you know that 95%, again, of your peers by the time they get to 65 are dead, disabled, or broke. 4% are financially okay, and 1% is very rich. Very rich. We're not talking about extremely filthy rich, like $700 billion like Elon Musk or Warren Buffett or Bill Gates or whoever you want to put in there, all the Fortune top billionaires. We're talking about people that have at least $2 to $10 million by the time they get to 65. Regular, ordinary people that you could put together a plan and be financially independent. How many people are on that kind of a plan? How many people here understand the definition of success? How about this definition of success? Success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream. Success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream. Success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream. Success looks different in the eyes of a 20-year-old, in the eyes of a 30-year-old, a 40-year-old, a 50-year-old, a 60-year-old, a 70-year-old, an 80-year-old, a 90-year-old. 100 years old looks very different. Let's go back to that circle I asked you to draw earlier. So now if you hadn't drawn that circle, you're just tuning in now, draw a circle, put a $sign inside it. How big is your circle? Is it a medium circle? Is it a large circle? How big is your circle? It matters, doesn't it? You got a small circle, you got a small lifestyle, right? Not going to be able to afford much if you got a small circle. And that circle is your income. That circle is your income circle. Now, what if you take another circle and draw it around your income circle? Now you got 2 circles with a $sign in the middle of it. Between the first circle and the second circle is your dream circle. What do you think about having a dream circle? What would that mean to you in your life and your family's life? Having a dream circle and an income circle, but most people don't have the dream circle. They have credit cards, and credit cards are a nasty thing. How many people here agree with me on that one? It can make your life very interesting, very challenging. So you have heard of the cash flow quadrant because you probably heard it from me right now. Think of me in that picture over there when I was 13 years old playing Red Rover, send Johnny over, and you want to get the employee and self-employed people over from the left side of the quadrant over to the right side of the quadrant or the other side of the dance floor to the business owner and investor side. Now, reaching out to the other side of the dance floor, when the DJ says, Red Rover, send Johnny over, or the employee or self-employed person is Johnny, coming on over to the business owner and investor side, sometimes that could feel like very stressful to do. It could feel like birthing too. You're breathing and breathing and breathing and breathing, huffing and puffing, like training for a marathon as well. It could be challenging. Let's take a break from that and think about who helps an old lady cross the road. How polite are you? Are you willing to help an old lady cross the road? If you're the kind of person that's willing to help an old lady cross the road, hey, And we're more alike than we are different because you do enjoy helping people. You believe in volunteerism. A nice person might do that. A mentor, a coach, a gentleman, a mensch, a distinguished Toastmaster, a kind person. Those are the kind of people that would help an old lady cross the road. Is that your cowable cup of tea? I like to think that everybody's nice and willing to do that. But who helps an employee and self-employed person cross their road and wake up as a business owner and investor when the DJ says, Red Rover, send Johnny over. Johnny is the self-employed and the employee coming over through the dance floor to the other side of the quadrant to the business owner and investor. Who helps those people? Similar people, the coach, the mentor, the kind person, the entrepreneur, a business owner who was once an employee. So why dream big? Why does it feel good, by the way, to help somebody? Why does it feel so good to exercise? After you're done exercising for about an hour, you feel great. Gets the blood flowing. You feel sharper. Don't you feel sharper after exercising or during exercising? Why does it feel so good to mentor somebody and actually see someone? The satisfaction of actually helping somebody succeed. If you're that kind of a person, let's keep in touch as well. Put your name in the comments down below or email me at wow@omgtalk.cm. But why does it feel good to educate someone, or who will teach you if I don't, or what will happen if you don't listen to anything I say here today? Will the right person come along and help you? This could be just the connection that you need right now, is connecting with the Paul Finkelstein, one of the 50 Paul Finkelstein that are LinkedIn. So if you missed this entire video and it goes right down through your feed, that's it. So why don't people dream big? I'll tell you why people don't dream big. How about TikTok, TV, Netflix, binge watching, other time zappers, 168 hours a week, 45 years, and are you tired yet? Maybe you're tired of me. Am I talking too fast, perhaps? That's why you could re-listen to this again. Why do people dream big, or why should you dream big? Does sick precede tired for you? Does sick and tired of a boss come into the same sentence ever for yourself? Does sick and tired of not getting a raise or increasing your revenue of your business? Are you sick and tired yet of not increasing your revenue? Are you sick and tired of being broke? Are you sick and tired of your income circle falling short of your dream circle? Why dream big? Here, let me put up on the screen a couple of dreams. I just dropped one of the piece of papers I want to show you, but here's a nice piece of paper of the Parthenon in Athens, Greece. You have any desire to do any traveling, something like that, or somewhere else in the world? Everybody's goals and dreams are individual, but why don't more people dream big? I'll give you 5 or 6 reasons: fear, lack of capital, lack of money, lack of knowledge, lack of education, lack of confidence, which Toastmasters can boost your confidence big time. And it's very economical to do. It is in a club format. You will enjoy it. You will feel comfortable on any stage, whether it's YouTube, a podcast, in person, in front of 20 people, in front of one person. But why dream big? Let me talk about the definition, or the acronym for the word fear. Here is the fear acronym I love a lot. Fear equals false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. So if you got a real fear for starting your own business, maybe perhaps it's false evidence appearing real. And then you can turn it around and think of it as forget everything and run. Forget everything and run as the acronym for fear. Here's 4 books I highly recommend for the new entrepreneur, and that is Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, How to Be Rich by J. Paul Getty, Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. David Schwartz, Think and Go Rich by Dr. Napoleon Hill. If you have all those 4 things, you will have the best mindset you possibly can have. When you're ready to get a dream circle, and you will dream big, then you'll dream big. If your income circle is falling short of your dream circle and you want more, and maybe you want to improve your health, then you'll dream big. I'm Paul Finkelstein, the Paul Finkelstein. Dream big, Paul Finkelstein. I'll leave the last word for your Medicare lady.
It's time for another segment of Mr. and Mrs. Medicare, saving seniors from a high cost of healthcare, debunking Medicare, making Medicare easy to understand for all seniors. All guests of any of the Medicare segments receive a free ebook written by your MedicareLady.com. Here are your hosts, Paul and Sarah Finkelstein.
Tony, I got a word. I think you have a word for me also.
You have been listening to the OMG podcast with Paul Finkelstein. We can help you build wealth without hogging your time. Schedule a one-on-one with us. Thanks for listening. Join us again for another OMG podcast segment.
Oh, by the way, if you're wondering what that Don't Be Bruce is, just check out omgtalk.com. That's omgtalk.com and discover about not being Bruce. It's in the More section on my YouTube. Check it out.